to Radio Spark, the voice of Jaipuriya.
Hello everyone. I am extremely delighted to welcome Ms.Swati, and she's from Dehradun but settled in Japan for the last 10 years. And the reason for inviting her here is because she teaches English in Japan. So it's the same community, we share that common bond, and definitely I would like her to share a couple of things as I go along and put up some questions to her. So welcome, Swati.
Thank you, ma'am.
And just tell us a little bit about how you landed up in Japan, and what is your experience of teaching there.
Okay, sure. So, thank you for a warm welcome. And I moved to Japan when I was 25. That's 10 years ago. And the fundamental reason was obviously I wanted to explore Buddhism, which I found in India, and then I moved to Japan. And I wanted to study at Soka University, which is founded on Buddhist principles of humanism. So I got my master's there, and then I started to teach at a Soka school, which is again founded on Buddhist values. So that's how I am in Japan.
So what's the age group that you teach?
So right now I'm teaching elementary, which is I think primary for India. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4.
Okay. And is this part of the curriculum, or do you teach? Because when I visited Japan, I found that Japanese is the medium of instruction in most schools.
Yes.
So how does it work there?
Yes, Japanese is the medium of instruction. So I teach English as a foreign language. For example, Indians learning Spanish. So there is only one class or two classes dedicated to English learning. It's very different than what we studied in India, where where everything is taught in English. So we never learned English as a language. But they learn English as a language, which is a bit different, and a lot of emphasis is put on vowel sounds and how to learn to write A. And that it may look like very strange, but for example, grade 1 students may not know the alphabet.
Right. So basically to have command over another language, or in fact a language that will help them to sort of establish, connect with people worldwide.
Exactly, and it's not also a second language. It's a foreign language. There's a huge distance between their own language and English. So they struggle a lot with that.
All right. So just a little bit about the Japanese culture in the school. Like I know it must be pretty different from what it is in India. Yes. And we all know, we speak to our own children and tell them about how children clean up after themselves. It's ingrained in them right from the start. Right. So since you're already working there, you have first-hand experience. Would you like to say something about that?
Yes, so that was something of a culture shock to me when I started working there, how students were so engaged in cleaning and that they enjoy that process. Because when we were growing up, housemaids were fully responsible for cleaning, and if housemaid was not present, we used to have fights with our mother that I'm not going to clean. But that is not the case, because that's how they do it at home as well. There is no maid system. So they really take cleaning as a very important part. Like you can't have shoes inside your house. Even in school, they have different sets of shoes for school and outside.
And even going to the washroom, I saw that there were different pairs.
That is correct.
Slippers kept. They had to
and they have
wear them and then go.
Yes, and they have different sports shoes as well.
Yes,
like for physical education, there's a different set of shoes. For formal, different set, and even school uniform. It changes according to the occasion sometimes. So that's the school life is considered so important, and I think a lot has to do with the literacy rate in Japan, which is 98%.
Yeah, so I think this cleanliness is basically ingrained in them, and they just do it naturally. Nobody has to tell them.
Definitely.
And neither, I think, do teachers have to monitor.
No. Teachers are fully responsible. They will tie a headscarf. And
they join in.
They join in, and there is a song playing which is about cleaning, and then in Japanese, and then students are cleaning, and it's like a bonding time with friends. Oh, I get to clean with my friend. So
just tell me, as someone going from India and working in Japan, I mean, and now having been there for such a long time, what were your first thoughts? Did you feel, that these are things that can be implemented in Indian schools,
Right.
or maybe something in Indian schools that can be implemented in Japan. Did you sort of have any of these thoughts?
I did actually, because one of the things that I thought from where I work in Japan can be implemented if I were to start a school in India, or if I get to a position where I'm in a position of, having some policies done. I'd like for, there's this very small gesture a principal does in Japanese school, which they stand at the gate to greet the students. And that really makes the student, the principal, very accessible. I'm sure Indian
Yeah.
principals have a way of doing that too, but I thought it was very, very, very
Personal.
basic,
I think
very,
very
personal.
personal, yeah.
And then you will see teacher, the principal cleaning. So that also creates, that's not a very small job. That
Yeah.
everybody should be doing
Yeah,
this.
it's everybody's
So I
responsibility.
think teachers and principals can create a culture which may not be part of Indian culture, but they can have their own school culture.
That's wonderful.
So I really liked that. I thought that was something I would love to have if I were a principal in an Indian school, or just, do this. That just create this sort of environment where
Wonderful.
these work are not considered, oh, I'm not your servant, no, don't ask me to do. So this sort of mentality goes away, which
And I'm sure they do that at home as well, the kids.
Exactly.
It's not
They-
just at school,
Yes.
but they do it at home, and they do it in their whichever area, neighborhood they live in.
Yes.
That sense of, wanting to clean up and
Yes.
keep everything neat.
Another thing that I'd like to have if I were to bring the Japanese system in an Indian school would be that the principal, vice principal, headmasters, everybody, and all the teachers sit in one room.
Oh, there's no separate
No,
office.
no separate
Oh.
office for the principal, no separate office for the headmaster. Of course, there is a table that is designated which says the president and the principal, but they all are in
One room.
One room. So
Yeah.
very accessible. There's no such difference, and you can go and meet the principal, and you can meet the teacher. Obviously, if there's no private meeting, then the principal will take you to another room. But
Okay.
everybody, from the president to the teachers, is in the same room.
All in the same room.
So it's very equal in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that part
That's
of my school.
quite different from how it is here.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about, from the student perspective, students who pass out of school or
Right.
college and they enter college? I believe very early on,
Yeah.
children there move out of their
Yeah.
families,
Yes, yeah.
from their parents' home, and they strike it on their own,
Yeah, yeah.
which is such a westernized thing to be doing. In
Yeah,
India,
yeah.
you stay with your parents often even beyond marriage.
yeah.
Not so much now, but,
Yes, yes.
but children do, at least till the time they're settled.
Yes, yes. Yes.
They do stay with their parents.
Right.
Is that a difference?
Yes, definitely more independent, and they leave the house, like you said, right after class 12. So they go to study in some public university or even abroad, and so they have that sort of healthy
Independence.
distance and independence. And I think it's a lot to do with the safety part of Japan.
Yeah,
It's a
very
highly
safe.
safe country.
Yeah.
And so safety is a natural part. You can walk out at 2 a.m. not worrying that if somebody is going to come and do something or steal something out of you. So there is this huge amount.
So I
of
guess
that.
there are very strict laws. That,
Exactly. For the road rage, you can never see that happening in Japan.
that's such a remarkable thing.
Very remarkable, and they really, really care about the other person. Like highly considerate society, which can be a bit too much. So sometimes in my private conversation with friends, it is the Japanese friends. It was very hard for me to understand if what they were saying is
Actually what they
exactly their
meant.
feeling.
What they meant.
So
is-
I had to like reconfirm.
But that's the way they are.
Yes, that's the way it is, and
Yeah,
I have to work
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Swati.
Thank you,
It was a
ma'am.
pleasure having you and getting a little insight into,
Yes, yes.
something as a tourist you will never gauge.
Yes, yes.
But having
that's-
lived there for so many years, I think you understand their culture and what works and what doesn't.
Yes,
Both.
definitely.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.